In Sichuan, a 6-ton aircraft is being asked to behave like two completely different machines. On the ground, its rotors point upward and lift it like a helicopter. In cruise, those same rotors are meant to turn forward and pull it through the sky like an airplane. This is the Lanying R6000, an uncrewed Chinese tiltrotor built by United Aircraft. It is almost 12 meters long, spans 17.5 meters with its rotors, and carries two rotor systems measuring 7.5 meters across. The company lists a maximum takeoff weight of 6,100 kilograms and a commercial payload of 2,000 kilograms. Those numbers are impressive, but they are not the real story. The real story is the 90 degrees between helicopter and airplane. Because building a machine that can hover is difficult. Building one that can cruise efficiently on wings is difficult. Making the same airframe transfer from one condition to the other, while two huge thrust systems rotate in sync, turns the aircraft into a moving structural and control problem. And that problem begins before the engines are even installed. United Aircraft says the R6000 uses lightweight composite materials and composite rotor blades. Public information does not reveal the exact fiber system, resin, laminate schedule, or cure process. So there is no honest way to pretend we can watch a complete proprietary layup recipe. What we can see is the engineering requirement. Every kilogram removed from the structure is a kilogram that does not have to be lifted in hover. But the wing still has to carry the aircraft in forward flight, and the wingtips also have to support two enormous rotating systems. That makes stiffness as important as lightness. The first full-size prototype came together in 2024. Early assembly took place in Wuhu, where local officials described the aircraft as unusually demanding to manufacture because of its configuration and low tolerance for assembly error. The geometry matters everywhere. A small misalignment in a normal aircraft is already a problem. Here, the left and right rotor systems eventually have to change angle together, while producing forces large enough to hold up more than 6 tons. By 2026, the industrial map had shifted. United Aircraft's Chengdu operation was being described as the center for aircraft design, algorithms, and systems integration, while the Xifang base in Dayang handled final assembly, debugging, and planned batch production. That division gives us a useful clue about what this aircraft really is. It is not one mechanical invention. It is a structure, a power system, a control system, and a software problem being forced to work as one machine. Now look at the ends of the wing. A first-generation tiltrotor, such as the V22, rotates an entire engine nacelle. The R6000 takes a different route. Its engine nacelles remain fixed. The rotor-axes are the parts designed to tilt. That single decision changes the aircraft. United Aircraft says an electromechanical actuation system between the nacelles and the wingtip rotor assemblies can synchronously drive both rotors through about 90 degrees. In vertical flight, the rotor discs are oriented to create lift. In airplane mode flight, the thrust direction turns forward while the wing takes over much more of the lifting work. Why keep the engines still? The company gives two practical reasons. A fixed engine installation avoids directing hot exhaust downward in the same way a fully rotating nacelle can, and it makes conventional side door access easier to preserve. So the odd-looking mechanism at the wingtip is not complexity for decoration. It is a solution to problems created by the aircraft's intended operating environment. But moving only the rotor axis creates a new question. How do you transmit engine power through a system whose thrust direction is changing? The R6000 uses two AES-100 turboshaft engines developed by Aero Engine Corporation of China. The AES-100 is a 1,000 kilowatt class civil turboshaft. It received a Chinese type certificate in 2024 and a production license in 2025. On the R6000, two of these engines have to support a flight regime that is especially demanding because hover and high-speed forward flight ask for power in very different ways. In hover, there is nowhere for the aircraft to hide. The wings cannot provide the same lift they do at cruise speed. The rotors must hold almost the entire machine in the air. Engine response, rotor speed, control authority, and structural vibration all become immediately visible in the aircraft's behavior. Then the conversion begins. The rotors start to tilt. Forward thrust increases. Airspeed builds. The wing begins to carry more of the aircraft. Rotor-generated lift becomes less dominant, and the control system is now managing a vehicle whose aerodynamic rules are changing while it is flying. This middle region is the part that makes a tilt-rotor so fascinating. The aircraft cannot simply switch from a helicopter program to an airplane program like changing modes on a screen. Forces migrate continuously. The computer has to know the aircraft's attitude, rotor angle, airspeed, engine condition, and control demand. And it has to keep both sides coordinated as those conditions change. United Aircraft says the R6000 uses a redundant fiber optic flight control architecture, with onboard equipment linked through fiber rather than relying only on conventional electrical data wiring. The company also describes an onboard health management system and an independently developed tilt drive system. The unusual part is that the mechanical motion and the digital control are inseparable. A perfect tilt mechanism with poor control logic is dangerous. Perfect software attached to a mechanism that cannot stay synchronized is equally useless. If you enjoy engineering stories where the mechanism itself becomes the mystery, subscribe to Modus Assembly. The hardest part of this aircraft is still ahead. Before the R6000 could attempt that conversion, engineers had to prove it could survive the simpler-looking condition, hovering. Ground tests came first. Public company material records power system ground runs and integration testing before free flight. Later images showed the aircraft tethered during hover work, sometimes with aerodynamic fairings removed and mechanical areas exposed. That unfinished appearance is important. It shows the R6000 not as a polished airshow object, but as a machine still being interrogated. Why tether something designed to fly? Because hover concentrates risk. The aircraft is close to the ground. The rotors are carrying the full weight, and a control or power problem can develop quickly. A tether limits how far the prototype can depart, while engineers measure vibration, response, stability, and system behavior. On December 28, 2025, the R6000 completed its publicly reported maiden flight in Shifang, Sichuan. Aero Engine Corporation of China said the aircraft performed takeoff and landing, climb, hover, and near-ground maneuvering with the twin AES-100 engines. That proved an important part of the concept. But it did not close the biggest loop. A tilt-rotor has not demonstrated its central advantage merely because it can hover. It has to move through the conversion corridor and emerge as an efficient wing-borne aircraft. In June 2026, new footage appeared to show the R6000 in free flight and sustained forward movement, with the proprotors in a forward-oriented position. That looked like a major step beyond the earlier tethered tests. Then came an interesting complication. In late July, a company executive quoted by Sichuan media said the R6000 had completed helicopter mode flight, possessed tilt capability, and would next conduct tilt testing. In other words, Public images suggest the program has already explored more advanced configurations, while the latest official description still treats conversion testing as an engineering task in progress. That uncertainty is not a weakness in the story. It is the story. The R6000 is being filmed during the period when a strange geometry has to prove that it is more than a clever prototype. The aircraft has to demonstrate repeatable conversion, stable control, reliable power transmission, and safe operation across a broader flight envelope. Only then does the promise of a 550 km/h cruise speed and a claimed maximum range of 4,000 kilometers become relevant as an operational transport concept, rather than a specification on a page. And the company is already preparing for what comes after testing. Sichuan, reporting in July 2026, said 7 R6000 aircraft were planned to roll out by the end of the year. The same reporting described Chengdu as the development and integration center and Dayang as the manufacturing base for assembly, debugging, and planned batch production. A 6 to 12 seat crewed derivative is also being developed, although that is a separate configuration from the uncrewed aircraft we have followed here. There is also a feature that reveals how seriously the designers are thinking about where a large tilt-rotor might have to live. United Aircraft says the R6000 can fold its wings and rotor blades to reduce its storage footprint. An aircraft 17.5 meters wide, with rotors installed, suddenly has a second geometry when parked. That is another reminder that every advantage creates another mechanism. Vertical takeoff removes the runway requirement, but demands large rotors and enormous hover power. Fast cruise uses the wing efficiently, but requires the thrust axis to rotate. Folding reduces parking space, but adds joints, locks, and alignment requirements. Automation removes an onboard pilot from the prototype, but places even more responsibility on sensing, flight computers, and health monitoring. The R6000 is not futuristic because of how smooth its white fuselage looks. It is futuristic because several systems have to change their jobs during the same flight. The wing begins as little more than a structure carried upward by the rotors, then becomes the main lifting surface. The rotor begins as a helicopter rotor, then becomes a propulsive system. The power plant has to support both conditions without moving with the rotor. And the flight control system has to manage the transition without allowing the aircraft to become unstable in the space between them. That answers the central manufacturing question. You do not build this aircraft by solving one spectacular component. You build it by controlling interfaces: engine to transmission, transmission to tilting rotor, rotor to wing, wing to fuselage, sensors to computers, and computers and back to the actuators. The 90-degree motion visible from outside is only the final expression of all those hidden connections. As of August 26, the R6000 is still an engineering program in flight verification. It is not a mature operational fleet. And it is not a confirmed PLA aircraft. Its developer presents it for logistics, emergency response, offshore, and other civil transport roles, while the architecture naturally attracts attention for broader dual-use applications. The most important test is therefore still unfolding. If the R6000 can repeatedly move from vertical lift into wing-borne flight while keeping two giant rotor systems synchronized, its unusual architecture will have survived the exact problem it was built to solve. If it cannot, no claimed speed, payload, or range will matter. A 6-ton aircraft can be built in a factory. Making it become two aircraft in the same flight is the harder part. Subscribe to Modus Assembly for more engineering hidden inside machines that should not look possible.